Hello, everyone. For those who don't know my name by now, my name is Isaac Adams, and I'm going to do my informative speech on the game of golf. No, not miniature golf, with the little obstacles and colorful scenery, but actual golf with 14 clubs in a bag, your golfing shoes, and 500-yard holes. Today, I'm going to explain the history of golf, for example, how the game originated. Also, I'm going to teach you how to play the game. Trust me, it's a lot more complicated than just using a stick to hit a ball in a hole. Lastly, I'm going to be talking about the diversity of the game. So before I get started, I want everyone to close your eyes. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it will enhance your imagination if you do. Okay, so here we go. Imagine yourself alone with a cool breeze going through your hair, the sounds of birds singing and leaves falling. As you look down the fairway, all you see is a flag waving in the wind, letting you know I am the target to aim for. You grab your best driver out of your bag, you choose your cleanest ball, and finally you take your tee, stick it to the ground, and load your ball. You feel the weight of your shoulders coming. You feel one stream of sweat coming down your cheek. And as you're cocking your club and pivoting your foot, boom! The sense of relief starting to reveal itself as you're following through the rest of your shot. Congrats, you just hit your driver 300 yards. Without further ado, let us begin with the rest of this lesson. So the history of golf. For the longest time, because of my dad and two coaches I had in high school, they told me golf started with two drunk Englishmen that thought it would be funny playing with pieces of poop and sticks. So what they would do, they would just find random pieces of poop outside, get a stick, and hit it to whatever target they picked in the lowest amount of strokes. But as time went on, I've come to figure out that's not really what happened. So, according to Mary Bellis, profound author for many articles about inventions and how they started since 1997, stated that golf was made up in 1750 in Scotland but was made official in 1774 by the Edinburgh golfers and was originally called kolf, which means club in Dutch. And the first set of rules were put in place in 1774, where the first championship tournament was held in Edinburgh, Scotland, and was won by Dr. John Rattray, April 2nd, 1774. And the equipment they used back then were the sticks and stones. In 1750, later wood shafts were invented for clubs and leather-filled saps were filled in 1848. Finally, clubs were made out of stronger wood and iron, and the balls were made up with rubber inside with a plastic outside in 1905. Now it's developing to the golf we know and love today. So now you know what they used and when it was invented. I'm going to teach you pretty much how to play the game or what equipment you need to use. So first I'm going to tell you the layout of the course. According to the USGA, the United States Golfing Association, the Supreme Court of all golf says an average 18-hole course is about 7,700 yards, which can equal about to 4.4 miles in total. And each hole can range up to 200 to 650 yards a hole. And then those courses, they're not just all straight. They have curves in them. Some of them go in a circle. Some of them have hazards. And hazards are like rivers, numerous trees, holes made by animals, the weather, and pedestrians that can affect your swing. So you can't just aim straight and expect you to get to the hole. You gotta look at these things and try to pick the best club out of your bag and shoot your ball based on the yards that you know which club can hit. Which brings me to my next topic of how do you know what club to use? So what you usually do is before you play a game of golf, you go to a driving range. And a driving range allows you to, test out your club. So you see which club you hit the farthest to be your driving shot. And after your driving shot, you want to get closer to the hole, so you use an iron. And then when you're finally on the green, which is where you play, when you put in the ball with your putter, you can go on the greens for that. And then sometimes when you get stuck in a hazard, for example, a sand pit, you have to use a sand wedge to get out of the sand bucket and back on the green. So, I'm going to explain what I use. So your driver, usually use your driver for the first shot because it if you hit it correctly, the ball will go flying. But after your driver, I usually pick around a 5 iron if it's about a big 500-yard hole course, or I use a 8 iron depending the size of where the hole is at. And then pretty much the lower the club, the farther it's going to hit. So you start with your 9 that hits about 150 yards, and then so on and so forth throughout the clubs. But how do you know which ball is yours? So you mark it with a Sharpie if you're playing against an opponent. And then I'm going to explain to you what items you should have in your golf bag. So you're going to have a towel, just in case it's muddy outside. Of course, your golfing shoes, your clubs, of course, and then extra tees, which is what you put the ball on before you hit. If you need to know more rules, and there's more rules that get made each year, you can go to the USGA website. And lastly, I'm going to be talking about the diversity of golf. So every time I play golf, and when I talk to people who aren't enthused about golf or don't really know much about it, they'd be like, how diverse can really golf be? Golf is only for white people. I only see white people play golf. And then that's actually not true. According to Michael Bamberger, chief writer of Sports Illustrated, 20.5 million golfers in the U.S., 5.5 million total golfers are made up of African American, Hispanic, and Asian descent. Yeah, it is a pretty expensive game, but it's not just for white people. Other people play it too. And out of the 4 years I've been playing in high school, I have played every team I faced were filled with players who were not white. So, through the many changes of golf, and since golf was officially invented, each year golf gains more of a following throughout the U.S., and hopefully from this speech, each of you now have a better understanding and idea how golf is played and aspects involved in golf. Maybe one day, I will see some of you on a course. Thank you.